Arizona, I believe, so this was started, the church presence there was started by the colonization when they went to Salt Lake Valley. Some people were sent all over the place, and one of them was down into Arizona. I want to say we founded Mesa, but I'm not sure. Anyway, but there's a very large presence of the church there. There's a lot of stakes. Like Surprise was not particularly big, but it had 2 stakes. Phoenix in the city doesn't have that many. Well, it has a lot, but it's not as dense as like Surprise is, or Peoria is another one where it's really dense population in the church. Surprise, Peoria, Glendale is the same way. Kind of those outlying places where there's a lot of, it's suburban. And there's a lot of churches everywhere. Not as, like if you're driving around Utah, you're going to see more. But second is probably going to be Arizona. The wards are actually particularly strong. One thing I really liked in Arizona was the youth are just really good. They're just really good. And they do a lot, more than other places, I feel like. But I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't experienced everywhere. But I felt like as a general rule, the youth were very active in the church, but then also in just doing things for the church. The church wasn't really, well, it was providing them a lot, but they were also active players in what was going on. And that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. The attendance to most of my wards would be like 200, 250 people, which I feel like is a lot, is a decent sized ward. And so yeah, everyone, and now it depends though. It's really funny. So in like Surprise, they talk about that's somewhere over 50% attendance, which is generally pretty good. And they're like, oh man, we got to get our attendance up. But then if you go up to, I also served in Flagstaff. And in Flagstaff, you've got, it's right on the border of the reservation, which is fun because of the Navajo reservation. And the Navajos, as it turns out, like 90% of them are members of the church, because the brethren came down at some point or another and taught them about the gospel. And the gospel just clicks with a lot of their traditional beliefs, but not like their views on God or anything, but like, oh, there's this ancient record of our people that the elders tell us about those lost and nobody can find it. And I'm like, hey, look, it's an ancient record of the people who are in America. And so tons of people, tons of them got baptized, but they're just like not very active as a general rule. And so you go up to Flagstaff and you have something like 25% attendance or 30% attendance. My understanding is if you go on the res, which is not actually in the Phoenix Mission, it used to be, is you get crazy, like you'll get branches where you have like 50 or 100 attendance and the roster's like 2,000 or 3,000 big. It's like, whoa. And so it kind of varies. As you get outside of Phoenix, you have, I think, less general strength. And the reason for that, I think, is because in the Phoenix area, something else that's really big is non-denominationalism is for sure the biggest religious affiliation and movement there. There's all these, like the mega church thing is super huge there. And everyone goes to, what was it, CCV? CCV is Christ Church of the Valley, or you got Calvary Chapel is pretty big. Which is actually started in California. And I can't remember the name of this church, but we drove by it. It was in Surprise. And it was a church with like this tower in the middle of it, literally a tower. And you can walk up to the top of it, symbolizing some sort of ascension. And there's like some sort of television screen up there where you go, and it's like leading you through this prayer that you go and you worship with. And it was just like, oh look, it's the Ramyum Dome. We didn't go in though, like Alma, because it's against the rules. But anyway, but CCV is the biggest one, and they sell all these stickers. Christ Church of the Valley, we used to call them cash, credit card, Visa, because they're pretty more money oriented, and so everyone down there is religious, pretty much. More often than not, you have some sort of, and everyone down there is Christian, more often than not. And you find a strange amount of Romanians down there, actually. It's pretty interesting. Romanians and, a lot of Romanians, and then a lot of, they call themselves Babylonians, because what they are is they're Christians from like the Middle East area, more eastern side of the Middle East, who are leaving for obvious reasons, because the Middle East is kind of not friendly to Christians. But a lot of them turn up in Arizona. I think it's a climate thing, but I'm just guessing. Now that's good because everyone has like a Christian foundation, but it was really a real struggle for a couple of reasons. First of all, because everyone thinks that they're right, and so it's hard to it's hard to preach a gospel which is so it's really morally opposed to a lot of the non-denominational beliefs that we ran into. Kind of really weird beliefs. But just the whole moral relativism and saved by grace, but kind of universal salvation type of thing. Saved by grace, we're all going to be saved, not a problem, was a big deal that we ran into all the time. And then the other thing is that non-denominational churches will have classes on how to deal with Mormons and how to deal with Mormon missionaries. CCV did, Calvary Chapel did, and then a lot of the smaller ones usually did. And so we didn't run into which is interesting because we didn't run into a lot of the same tactic, as it were. I don't think they really taught them tactics, but what we ran into was this, people would be like, oh, I know what you guys are about, and I'm above you type of thing. And so that was the real damage of those classes, I think, to the people. But that was just when we ran into people like that. We ran into people who are good too, a lot actually. It's really, the Phoenix mission, at least while I was there, was really highly baptizing. In fact, I think it was not that this matters, but it was it does matter in a way. So it was third or fourth outside of Utah or something, which is not to say, oh man, we're great, or President Taylor is great. And he didn't really talk about it that much. But when he would talk about it, and the reason why I'm bringing it up now is I think it speaks to what's going on in the area. The church is really strong. There's a really good Christian background, and so it's a really great place to go and teach right now. That's what the statistic speaks to, I think. It's just Arizona. It goes from Phoenix up to Flagstaff. While I was there, so when I first went in there, it was Phoenix up to Sedona. It didn't have the Flagstaff stake. And then when they had this huge mission, so they had the age change and the huge mission overhaul, they added 2 missions to the Phoenix area. So connecting in Phoenix, the actual Phoenix city, is Phoenix, Mesa, Tempe, Scottsdale, and Gilbert missions. All 5 of them. And Phoenix starts there and goes north. We actually don't have the Phoenix stake anymore. It's pretty funny. We gave that away in the mission change, and we got Flagstaff. Temples, most times we would go to Mesa, was the temple district that we were in. If you're up in Flagstaff, you might have the people in the Snowflake district, but you would still go to Mesa as a missionary. But they built the Phoenix temple while I was there. When I came in, they had the steel structure up, and then they dedicated it, I think 2 months after I left the mission. And that was cool. In fact, one of my areas I served, I think it was just 2 miles away from it. Didn't see it that often because you're in your area, but I was 2 miles away, and so we got to pass out these specialized pass-along cards with the temple on it. And so the entire mission, I think, is in that district now, the Phoenix Temple District. So I started in August of 2012, and I went to August of 2014. But I started in Surprise, which again is suburban, and then I went to Phoenix, but it was North Phoenix. It was a Phoenix address, but it was north, and right where it kind of connects with Glendale, and in the Pinnacle Vista, North Canyon wards. And then I went to Flagstaff, I actually went up there when it came into the mission. And then from Flagstaff, I went down to Peoria and was there that was my other really long area. I was there for 6 months. Surprise, I was there for 6 months too. And then after Peoria, I went to Prescott Valley, which was fun because my name's Prescott. And spelled the same way, but in Arizona it's Prescott. And then I say my name Prescott, but people called me, Well, when they knew my name, they called me Prescott. So Prescott Valley, and that's a little bit more north too. It's like in between the valley and Flagstaff. And the valley is like Phoenix, Mesa, Glen, just the urban sprawl place, and you kind of go up to the north areas. The big thing that I would do differently if I went back is I would just be more out there. I talked to people. I felt like I was a really good missionary, so I don't look back on it with a lot of regret or guilt. But I think I would be a better missionary now if I went back, and it would just be more like, not pride, but really recognizing your position and really believing in who you are, or the role that you play, not like who you are, but like the role that you play as a missionary, and realizing that you really do have the truth and you can act that way. It's okay, because the people have to have it, type of thing.